Time is not a constant flow, but a fragile illusion woven by the laws of physics. Today, the silver thread of destiny has finally snapped forever. We believed in the eternity of the seconds, but we were merely guests in a house of cards, waiting for the final clockwork gear to stop turning. In the heart of a bustling metropolis, the rhythm of life begins to falter as a heavy silence descends upon the streets, replacing the urban hum. Nature itself pauses in confusion, as the fundamental heartbeat of the universe skips its final beat, leaving the world suspended in an agonizing, silent moment. The structures of our civilization begin to show the first signs of spatial decay, as reality itself starts to fracture under the weight of the end. Gravity loses its grip as the seconds stretch into infinity, turning a simple accident into a crystalline sculpture of a world that no longer knows how. Humanity stands frozen in their daily routines, unaware that their physical forms are beginning to dissolve into the very energy that once gave them life. Every touch and every gesture becomes a monument to the past, as the atomic bonds of our existence start to loosen their hold on the present. The solid world we once knew is becoming a memory, a transparent layer of history fading into the cold, dark vastness of the coming cosmic night. Life retreats from the organic, as the vibrant colors of the earth are drained by the encroaching shadows of a time that has run out completely. The rivers of steel and light that once defined our progress are now static veins, pulsing with the final, faint energy of a civilization's last breath. Our tools of measurement fail us now, for how can one count the seconds when the very concept of when has ceased to have any meaning? A strange peace settles over the masses, a collective stillness that precedes the total dissolution of the self into the great, beckoning ocean of the void. Even the stars must obey the cessation of the clock, as the sun's fire turns to ice, casting a final, chilling glow over the dying world. From the edge of space, the blue marble loses its luster, transitioning into a monochromatic sphere of silence, drifting through the dark, cold vacuum of space. The atmosphere hardens into a tomb of crystal, trapping the last echoes of the wind within a structure of absolute and terrifying atmospheric stillness and peace. The oceans, once teeming with the fury of life, are now silent galleries of static water, holding their breath for a tomorrow that will never come. Nature's song has been silenced, replaced by a void where sound cannot travel, and where the pulse of the earth has finally gone completely and utterly cold. Within the final gaze of humanity lies the reflection of the end, a silent witness to the unraveling of the grand tapestry we called our reality. The physical world is losing its integrity, as the forces that held atoms together simply stop caring, allowing the material to return to the ethereal void. All the knowledge, all the stories of our species, are being erased from the ledger of existence, as if they were never written in the first. Even our most sacred monuments cannot withstand the end of time, their beauty turning into a fleeting burst of light before joining the growing cosmic shadows. The echoes of laughter are long gone, leaving behind only the haunting stillness of a world that has forgotten how to move, how to feel, and light itself is tired, struggling to traverse the distance between points that are no longer connected by the reliable bridge of a functioning and stable time. The individual soul prepares for the ultimate transition, shedding the skin of the temporal world to become part of the infinite light of the true void. Our celestial companion, the moon, feels the first tremors of the collapse, its ancient stone surface cracking under the strain of a reality that is ending. The protective veil of our world is stripped away, exposing the naked truth of our vulnerability against the backdrop of an indifferent and rapidly dying universe. The tyranny of the clock is finally broken, but the freedom it brings is the cold, empty liberty of a world that no longer possesses a beauty is the last thing to fade, a final spark of color in a world that is rapidly surrendering to the monochromatic embrace of the eternal. The edges of our world are softening, the boundaries between what is and what was becoming indistinguishable in the twilight of the very last day. A final wave of non-existence washes over the land, a silent herald of the absolute nothingness that is waiting to claim the throne of the universe. The moon shatters into a billion pieces, A silent explosion in the vacuum where gravity no longer holds sway and destruction is the only new law. Even the remnants of our world are being unmade, as the fundamental particles of matter lose their purpose and vanish into the hungry mouth of entropy. The lights of the cosmos are being extinguished one by one, a grand cosmic blackout that leaves the galaxy in a state of profound and terrifying. At the heart of the collapse stands a singularity, a black hole that is not just consuming matter, but devouring the very fabric of time itself. The laws of geometry are rewritten in the presence of the end, as light is forced into impossible shapes by the crushing will of the void. The celestial clouds of creation are now the fuel for destruction, drawn into a vortex where the past and the future are crushed into nothing. The universe beats with a new, dark heart, a rhythmic pulse of non-existence that signals the final surrender of the light to the eternal dark. Galaxies, the great cities of the stars, are being dismantled, their ancient structures pulled apart like silk threads in the hands of an invisible giant. Even the violence of a supernova is tamed by the death of time, turning a chaotic explosion into a geometric pattern of cold and silent light. The debris of the solar system is transformed into a field of mirrors, reflecting a reality that is no longer there for anyone to see. Dimension itself is collapsing, as the three-dimensional world we inhabited is crushed into a flat plane of existence, before vanishing into the one-dimensional void. The emptiness of space is no longer empty, but filled with the ghost light of a universe that is burning out its final, desperate energy reserves. The mathematical codes of reality are becoming visible as they break, the secret language of the universe, revealed in the moment of its total destruction. The jewels of the solar system are cast aside, their beauty irrelevant in a cosmos that has forgotten the purpose of form and the value. We enter the heart of the silence, the point where all paths lead and no path returns, the ultimate destination of every soul and every star. Time becomes a physical thing inside the dark, a library of moments being shredded and consumed by the gravity of the end of all things. The transition is violent and silent, a whiteout of the senses, as the old laws are stripped away and the new nothingness begins to take. Space itself is breaking, the very container of our existence proving to be as fragile as a thin sheet of glass under a hammer's blow. The information that defined the universe is leaking out, the data of reality, dissolving into a chaotic mess of meaningless and broken digital noise. The grand dance of the cosmos ends in a collision of ghosts, as the structures of light are pulled into the hungry rift of non-existence. The last remnants of our curiosity drift through the dark, witnessing the final shutter closing on the grand theater of the stars and the light. Tri ti ti na chi jich cho s a chen lan tut I. The order we imposed on the sky is gone, leaving a chaotic swarm of dying lights. Entropy has won its long war against the light, and now the victor expands its dark empire to cover every corner of the known universe. The final embers of the material world flicker in the dark, a few last sparks before the fire of existence is completely and permanently put. The skeleton of the universe is being dismantled, the great web of connection that held everything together failing in the face of the ultimate end. Perception fails as the medium of reality itself becomes corrupted, a distorted vision of a world that no longer possesses a stable or recognizable form. The heart of the cosmos gives one last, feeble pulse, a final signal sent out into a void that is no longer capable of receiving. The tunnel of time is closing, the road we have traveled for billions of years reaching its inevitable and abrupt dead end in the darkness. Energy flares in a final, desperate protest, only to be extinguished by the overwhelming weight of the nothingness that has come to claim its due. The fabric of the stars is stretched to the breaking point, the elastic reality snapping back into the formless void from which it was once born. We see the whole of existence as a tiny, fragile spark, a brief candle flickering in the middle of a wind that never stops blowing. Even the symbols of time are unmade, the digital ghosts of our past drifting away into the silence of a future that will never exist. The count reaches zero, the ledger is closed, and the debt of existence is paid in full by the dissolution of every atom in space. We fall into the mouth of the end, a descent into a place where color and form have no meaning, and light is a forgotten. The tide of the void rises, drowning the stars in a sea of shadow, leaving behind only the cold reflection of a universe that is gone. The sun, our great giver of life, takes its light back, retreating into a dark shell as it prepares for the eternal sleep of the home of humanity is now a ghost ship in the dark, a cold and lifeless stone drifting through a universe that has forgotten its name. The lights are gone, replaced by the dark eyes of the void, watching the final moments of a reality that has run out of time. The transition begins. The material world is left behind as we enter the realm of the absolute, the white void where time is no more. We arrive at the white void, a place beyond the three dimensions, where the concepts of space and direction have no meaning or physical anchor. A final consciousness walks through the emptiness, carrying the weight of all that was, their every step, a testament to a history that is ending. Underfoot, the echoes of humanity's journey are written in light, a fleeting record of love, war, and the triumphs that once defined our species' existence. The great architectures of our pride are now mere ghosts in the light, floating memories of a world that built monuments to withstand the time. The collective memory of billions is fragmented, scattered into 1,000 shards of light, each holding a face, a name, a life that once. Even the memories are being unmade, the last traces of our existence washed away by the tide of the infinite and the absolute white silence. Above, the phantom gears of the universe's great engine make their final, silent rotations, the machinery of destiny coming to its inevitable and total. The mechanisms of order are dissolving, leaving behind a purity of light that is both beautiful and terrifying in its absolute and uncompromising white simplicity. In this place, a single drop of water holds the entire universe, a frozen jewel of existence suspended in the air by the lack of. Within the curve of a tear, the cosmos dances its final dance, a billion years of fire and ice compressed into a single, beautiful moment. The last anchor of the physical world is broken, the diamond of time turning into dust and falling into the silence of the eternal end. The observer begins to merge with the observed, the last thread of individual identity fraying as the soul prepares to join the great white. The self is extinguished in a final burst of light, a silent release into the infinity where there is no I and no you. There is no before or after here. Only the eternal present remains, a single moment that lasts forever and never begins or ends at. The void itself is alive in its own silent way, a sea of potential that has no shore and no depth to its infinite end. The terror of the end is replaced by a profound and overwhelming peace, as the soul finds its rest in the quiet heart of the. Our creations are remembered by the void, held for a heartbeat in a golden light, before they are allowed to return to their original. The connections of the universe are laid bare, a forest of pure energy that once carried the signals of life and thought across the stars. A path appears for the final consciousness, a bridge made of pure intention, leading to the last light at the very edge of the end. We move towards the end of the end, the final singularity where the white void will eventually collapse into the absolute and final black silence. The way back is gone, the bridge of the past collapsing into the nothingness as we journey towards the ultimate and final point of the. Even the white void has its limits, its light beginning to tire as the great exhaustion of the universe finally reaches its very last stage. The final echoes of desire and attachment reach out for one last time, before they too are claimed by the growing and inevitable gray silence. The eye of the void opens, a silent witness that observes the final surrender of the light to the dark, a gaze that knows no. We descend deeper into the heart of the cessation, where the light is a memory and the dark is the only reality that remains for. The final flickers of consciousness are like dying embers in a storm, struggling to stay lit in a world that has no more air for. The machinery of the universe is found here, frozen in the ice of time's end, a monument to a clock that will never tick again. The structures of destiny are demolished, the frozen engine shattered into a million pieces of glass that fall into the bottomless pit of the void. Form is fleeting, a final trick of the light before it is completely gone, leaving only the cold and the dark to rule. We reach the shore of the end, a gray wasteland where the wind is silent and the stars have all gone to their final graves. The tree of life is bare, its silver branches reaching for a sky that no longer has a sun or a moon to light it. The final symbol of existence is gone, returned to the dust of the beginning, as the universe completes its long and lonely circle to the elements themselves are confused, the laws of physics breaking down into a chaotic soup of raw and meaningless and very strange cosmic energy. The spirit of the universe rests, its long work finished, its eyes closed to the world it once dreamed into a vivid and bright reality. Everything is reversed in the end, as the energy of existence tries to escape its fate by flying back into the heart of the lights are almost gone now, the gray curtain falling over the stage of the stars, signaling the end of the final act of time. The key to the universe is lost, the winding of the clock, forgotten, as the silence of the void becomes the only song that remains. A heartbeat of light, a pulse of the past, fading into the long, flat line of a world that has finally and completely stopped beating. We are down to the last spark, the final atom of a reality that once spanned billions of light years and trillions of living souls. And then, there was nothing. The white void is gone, and the symphony of the Hkchieng void is ready to begin its silent music. In the absolute darkness, a new rhythm begins, not of life, but of the final contraction, as the universe pulls itself into a point. The big crunch begins, the reverse of creation, where every star and every galaxy is called home to the center of the original void. Billions of years of cosmic history are compressed into seconds, as the vast distances of space are erased by the closing jaws of gravity. A grand gathering of the lights, a final meeting of the celestial bodies, before they are all extinguished in the heart of the great furnace. The fundamental strings of reality are visible now, vibrating with the energy of the collapse, playing the final, discordant notes of the universe's long symphony. One by one, the strings of existence break, the music of the spheres turning into a series of silent, broken chords in the cold dark. The air of the void is thick with the dust of broken laws, a beautiful and tragic golden haze of a world that is unmaking. All that was and all that could have been is gathered into the violet sphere, the final reservoir of energy in a universe of shadow. The rotation of the end accelerates, a cosmic centrifuge that separates the last bits of reality from the encroaching and overwhelming power of the nothingness. Silence is the final word. The roar of destruction is silenced by the absolute authority of the void, leaving a darkness that has no end. A final fracture in the dark, a last gasp of light trying to escape the crushing weight of the singularity that has claimed the throne. Inside the end, we see the ghost of the beginning, a faded memory of the fire that once birthed the stars and the living souls. The colors are bled out of the universe, the vibrant spectrum of existence turning into a gray and featureless void that knows no light or existence is being edited down to a single point, a final dot on the page of time before the book is closed and forgotten forever. We see our entire reality for what it truly is, a tiny, fleeting spark in the middle of a vast and indifferent ocean of shadows. The hand of the void closes the curtain, snuffing out the last light of the stars with a gentle and final movement of its shadow. A funeral song for the cosmos, played on the strings of the broken laws of physics, echoing in a theater with no audience, and the last witness of the end stands on the threshold of non-existence, ready to take the final step into the peace of the eternal. We are the mirror of the void, a brief moment where the nothingness looked at itself and dreamed of being something for a little while. The reflection is broken, the dream is over, and the dreamer returns to the darkness from which they were once so strangely and beautifully. All of existence is now a single note, a high-pitched vibration of pure energy that is about to reach its final and inevitable point. The final bond is broken. The music stops. The light is gone. The symphony of the void has reached its final and most silent. The void is not empty, but full of the echoes of what once was, a graveyard of possibilities that will never be born again in. The eye of the beginning looks upon the end, a silent observer that has seen the birth and death of 1,000 different and strange. A tear for the world that is gone, a final drop of gold in a universe of iron and shadow, falling into the eternal pit. A brief reminder of the beauty that was, a final flash of brilliance before the absolute dark claims its right to rule the entire universe. Time is now a form without a function, a memory of a tool that no longer has any purpose in a world where everything has. The river of time flows to its mouth, the final gateway to the unknown, where the light will eventually be transformed into the pure void. We travel through the archive of the soul, a tunnel of light that holds the final thoughts and dreams of every person who ever lived. The archive is being deleted, the memories turning to dust as the tunnel of light is crushed by the surrounding and overwhelming blackness of space. We are left with the final point of light, the last atom of reality in a universe that has gone completely and utterly dark, and the candle of existence is almost out, its flame dancing in the cold breath of the void as it prepares for its final and inevitable. The keeper of the void comes to claim the last spark, a silent giant that has waited for this moment since the very first and with a breath, the end is finished. The last light is gone, and the dark is now the only thing that remains in space. The story is over, the book is closed, the stars are gone, and yet, in the heart of the void, something new is waiting to. Hope is the last thing to leave. A final flight of white wings into the dark, a promise that even the void is not a new beginning, or just the final echo of the old one. In the darkness of the void, the two are almost impossible to tell. A new note is played, a new vibration begins, and the silent symphony of the void prepares for its next movement in the great dark. Patterns of light return to the dark, a new geometry for a new reality that will never know the same laws as the one before. The void is filled with light once more, a cycle that never ends, a dance that continues in the shadows of the eternal and infinite. We return to where we began, a clock that waits for a hand to wind it, a world that waits for a story to be. The first tick of the new time, a sound that breaks the silence of the void and starts the long journey of the stars again. The count begins anew, a fresh page in the book of destiny, a new universe born from the ashes and the silence of the void is gone, replaced by the light of a new creation, a symphony of fire and ice that will play for 1 billion years. But even the new light must face the end. The static of non-existence is always there, waiting at the edge of every new beginning. Our concepts of time and measurement are once again unmade, the digits of the clock melting into a chaotic pool of meaningless and broken data. The corruption of the new reality is fast and cruel, a glitch in the fabric of the cosmos that signals the return of the void. The veneer of existence is stripped away, revealing the naked and terrifying truth of the darkness that has always been waiting behind the scenes of. The pulse of the universe is weak and erratic now, a flickering signal in the dark that is struggling to hold onto its own identity. The heartbeat is failing, the connection to life is being severed, and the final silence is preparing to take its place on the cosmic throne. The symbols of the past are now just debris in the ocean of the end, their purpose forgotten, and their forms returning to the formless void. The hand of erasure is here, cleaning the slate of reality, wiping away the colors and the shapes of the world we once thought was. We are down to the last bit of light, a tiny window into a world that is no longer there, a final look at the end, a final act of innocence, a final wish made in the dark, before the candle is extinguished and the world is plunged into the eternal. The echo of time remains, a ghost of a sound that no longer has a source, a haunting reminder of a world that has run out. The heartbeat of the universe is tired, its energy spent, its purpose fulfilled in the long and lonely journey from the light to the dark. The last words of existence are spoken in a language we have forgotten, A final secret shared by the universe before it closes its eyes. A final spark of defiance. A last burst of energy that refuses to go quietly into the dark, but eventually fails like all the others. The underlying structure is revealed one last time, the skeleton of reality glowing with the final heat of a dying star and a coal. The last connections are burned away, the final bonds of the universe destroyed by the cold fire of the encroaching and all-consuming eternal black void. The scan of non-existence is complete, the final check of a world that is now empty of life, light, and any meaning or physical. We are submerged in the depths of the void, a silent and cold ocean where the pressure of non-existence is the only thing we feel. The ghosts of time drift in the deep, the remnants of a world that once cared about the seconds and the minutes and the hours. The predator of the void is hungry, consuming the last memories of time till only the empty, blue silence remains for the rest of eternity. The end of the end is coming. The final shutter is closing on the last colors of the universe, leaving us with the ultimate dark. The alarm of existence is sounding its final warning, a rhythmic pulse of red in the dark that signals the total and complete collapse. Even the alarm must fail, its energy source gone, its purpose irrelevant in a world where there is no one left to hear the warning. A final monument to time. A single hand that points to a moment that no longer exists, in a place that has no more name. The dust of the end, the final particles of our shared reality, hanging in the dark like a constellation of a world that is now. And then, the wind of the void takes them, carrying the last traces of our existence into the bottomless pit of the eternal and silent. We listen to the breath of the nothingness, a slow and rhythmic sound that reminds us that even the void has its own dark life. Is it a new beginning, or just the final hallucination of a dying mind? In the heart of the end, the two are the same. The last hope is gone. The final flicker is extinguished. The darkness is now complete, and the silence is the only king that remains. The end is written in the shadows, a final word for a final world, a period at the end of the long sentence of time. Even the word for the end is unmade, the last concept of termination dissolving into the fluid and formless reality of the eternal and infinite. The final vibration of the void, a low and powerful hum that signals the total and permanent cessation of everything that ever was or was. And now, the stillness is absolute. No more light, no more sound, no more time. Only the perfect and beautiful peace of the void remains. When reality dissolves, existence becomes a dream that was never told. Time has stopped. HV Void is now our only and our eternal home.